Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to IRL Exhibition Series Round 2 at Singapore. I'm your commentator, IRL Neon. I am also joined by my co-commentator, Jackie is.
Hello, I'm very excited for this. This is my first ever time doing any sort of special event, like different sorts of cars, so 2010 cars, a little bit of variety on an interesting track, so this should be interesting.
Yeah, that is true, of course. Very interesting track. Singapore, of course. Could be a few overtakes without DRS, so it's pure slipstream. So, could we see some guys like Matthew Older be challenged by a few of the other runners today, like Pedro, Joe Hollis, and possibly Brandon Glover, as I've been told they've been testing a lot in the classic cars.
I mean, it's possible this track isn't the greatest for overtaking. It's definitely possible. You got places like turn 7, turn 1, a few other corners, but the 2010 cars allow enough room for racing, so that's good. Without the DRS, it's harder for some drivers to keep up, of course, but I think we'll see a few more surprises, as there's a free choice of cars for this one as well. So we've got most people going for the Red Bull, the middle choice is Ferrari, and the lowest choice, to a surprise to me, is the McLaren at the bottom. So yeah, with these slight differences in cars, it allows, you know, maybe the strengths and weaknesses of a driver to be shown a little bit more, and allowing people to fight a little bit closer, you know, bring a fight to the people at the top, depending on people's car choices and how everything plays out in the race.
Well, yeah, that is true, of course. We have 6 drivers in the Red Bull, we have 4 drivers in the McLaren, and we have 5 drivers in the Ferrari. It's very interesting that people have actually gone Red Bull though for 6. It's good in corners, I agree, but the straight line speed compared to McLaren and Ferrari, it's not really that quick, so it's very interesting that they've gone in those cars. I
mean, this isn't a straight line speed track. I mean, you can see that from the setups. Most people favour much higher downforce than something that's quite clearly less of a downforce track, such as Austria, for example. So for this track, I'd say the Red Bull is quite clearly the best due to the vast amount of corners, as this is the track with the most amount of corners on the entire calendar, and there aren't particularly long straights, the longest one being like 832 meters or something, so not particularly long. And I think the only real place where people with a better engine will get an advantage is the lead up to turn 7. So yeah, I think the Red Bull is going to be clearly the better car. The McLaren, middle car, and Ferrari I think will be the worst one. That's lower amounts of grip, lower amounts of downforce compared to the Red Bull or the McLaren.
Yeah, that is true, of course, and Ivan and Shane have said hello, and good luck to everyone. It's unfortunate shame that you couldn't be able to race today. Hopefully we'll see you next week. But yeah, good luck to everyone in the track, because we have 16 now, which is it's getting better. We almost have a full grid, which is still amazing in theory, because this game is on its closing cycle. In a couple of weeks we will be having F1 2020, so could be a possible decent game, maybe better than 2019 this season, as there's been a few glitches on this game, and hopefully they've patched them for the new game.
Yeah, I mean, F1 2020 is going to be quite an exciting game. We might see some tracks that we weren't expecting beforehand, depending on how the entire calendar goes and Codemasters decide to bring those tracks into the game or what have you. But yeah, we're going to be seeing much lower driver turnouts for the end of the game as people decide to quit. I don't know why. It's only a month away from the end. It's better to just kind of continue, in my opinion, but you know, people decide they're just going to take a break and wait until the new game, so probably lower turnouts, but hopefully the drivers here today are going to be able to give us a good show. But Jared, I want to ask, who do you think will be at the top in this race?
At top? Well, I would say Blizzard, but he's not a fan of the classic cars. He's been beaten before in classic cars by Mr. Sohaug when there was contact between him and Brandon. A traumatic memory for Matthew for sure. And speaking about Sundry, he is in the lobby I think today, so it could be a possible win for him. But I'm going to give a shout out to Ollie. I think he's got a decent chance with Bran possibly, but I think Ollie's going to be up there today. He has been practicing a bit, so I think my guy is Ollie Favell for the win.
Interesting. I mean, I don't think I know enough about people's like classic car pace to be able to have an idea of who will be best, so I'm just going to have to take your word for that. I know Matthew's just a naturally quick, absolute demon of a driver. He terrifies me. And you know, I mean, as this is an exhibition series, we have a bit more of a variety in the grid, I see, but a lot of very quick drivers in here from what I know, and maybe some slightly slower ones, so I won't mention names to spare their blushes, but there's certainly some very quick drivers in here for the normal cars, the normal F1 2019 cars. But yeah, but because this is classic cars, it's kind of a different ball game, really, a different set of skills that you need, with some of these cars not reacting the same way as the more modern cars, but they've got better sounds, so that's something at least we get to have our ears treated.
Yeah, well, that is true, of course. It's miles better than the hybrid engines. I am more of a fan of no hybrids, get rid of them, but we can't have that, unfortunately. But it is to return to the past, you know, the 2010s cars were nice sound engine, V10 engines were nice when with Ferrari in that. Back in the 2000s, so it'll be very interesting what people can do. As now we are seeing people now ready it up, so it looks like we are starting then with 17 drivers, which is awesome. Sondre and Luke Baker says it's bottle time, and Luke Baker says yes, it's from you and me, and Luke Baker also says hi to the stream as well, which is good to hear as we are underway for the Singapore qualifying.
I mean, Singapore is no stranger to safety cars, so I will not be surprised if we do see somebody bottle and then safety car comes out, so we have to sit there for 3 laps and chat about nothing for about 5 minutes, as this is I think it's the track which takes the longest amount of time to actually do a lap, because of its high amount of corners. It's not the longest track, but it takes the longest for a lap from what I know. And if it decides to rain or there's a safety car, it's going to take even longer. So it's also the longest track in terms of actual race time. So we're in for a longer one this evening.
Yeah, that is true, of course. And right now it looks clear skies. Can't really tell since it is dark. And yeah, we're just going to have to buy our time if there is any wet weather or anything approaching, as we are waiting for the engines to start, where we can hear the roar of them. The loudness of the engine of the McLaren, Red Bull and Ferrari compared to the hybrids, which we've been all used to for the past couple of years.
Yeah, hybrid's just kind of more of a dull drum than anything. Needs more of a roar, a bit more of a kick in the sound. But of course there's no real tyre strategy around this for this race, as everybody's on the dry tyres. That's just what they're called. There's no option prime, soft, medium, hard, whatever. Oh, listen to that sound, that's beautiful.
And I tell you what also is beautiful, the Ferrari there in the daylight, the darkness, not the daylight, and it's Matthew Older, IRL F1 2-time world champion then, in the Ferrari today. And he is out on track, and the Ferraris back then, like the cars were nicely designed, now they're just too big. I think this was like the perfect size for an F1 car, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to see
That's
how
enough room for racing.
A lot more room. You could possibly overtake a lot easier in these cars in Monaco than what you can now in the rest of the cars. And Matthew Older's gone quite early, it looks like, compared to everybody else, as they're getting setups. And you know what, Jack, since it's your first comments with me, I, let you do the first commentary lap of the 2-time world champ.
Okay, so I'll just wait until he actually goes to set his lap, but I think there's quite a few corners on this track that's going to cause an issue for some drivers, such as that hairpin that Matthew's just gone through there. I know the traction on the exit of that corner can be quite a struggle sometimes for some drivers. I think it's going to be a little bit harder for the Ferrari drivers, I think, trying to get the power down out of that corner, as I know it can be a little bit slippery. But Matthew, I expect him to perform well. Obviously, he's, as he said, 2-time F1 world champion. He is a very, very quick driver, probably future esports if he bothers enough to do it. But he's about to start his lap, but the run out of this final corner is very, very important. You want to get it right to start your lap off nicely, which he seems to do pretty well. Coming into this first corner is you have to be quite aggressive. If you throw it in, turning in around that curb, getting a little bit of cut for that second corner, not really cut, just going over the curb. Short shifting on the exit of turn 3, accelerating onto what would be the first DRS straight just after this corner, shifting down to third. accelerating out nicely, get nice and close to the walls. That's another thing you want to do with this track, get nice and close to the walls, use up as much track as possible. This would be a DRS straight or possible overtaking opportunity, hitting the curb on the outside, hitting all the curbs, using all of that track. This is why Matthew's one of the best drivers. He uses that track really nicely, and it's just a very wiggly sector 2, I find. Well, actually sector 1 still. Everything about this track is very wiggly, it's very tight, so you kind of have to keep it precise and keep it clean. I know if you're not a very precise driver, you find this sort of track quite hard. Coming up to the hairpin, this area could be quite tricky, especially with no ABS, as your car can maybe lock up, you can lose the rear a little bit, accelerating onto the, I think, is second biggest straight. It's quite equal to the main straight, but coming onto the end of that, doesn't use as much curb, keeps it quite parked into the middle of the track, going right out close to those curbs. I don't know really what point of the track we're in, but there's a lot of 90-degree corners coming up now. You've got 4 in a row, hitting that curb slightly, getting close to the walls on the exit, accelerating out to come into the final few turns of this track, cutting that curb just a little bit, running out close to the wall, coming into the final corner, and that's going to be the end of Matthew's lap as he gets a really nice final corner using all of that track again. So it's a 38.1.
Could that be a awesome lap for pole position already, as there is a few yellows I've noticed in sector 2. There's a few people struggling on traction now. Do I have a weird feeling that it's the bottle hog? It's actually not the bottle hog.
It's a safe bet.
I'm not saying bottle hog spins a lot, but we will stay on board with him. It is a Ferrari. It's Paco Suarez, the other bottler. He's had unfortunate issues there and has spun the car. And there's another driver who's spun it. That's Joe Hollis. The 2 Ferraris are now around, and we'll go on board with the ball hog then, as we've had times to set on the board already. Logan has set the fastest lap, a 1:38 flat. He was in IRL F2, so he's already dropped the 2-time world champion. Pedro in 3rd with a 38.8, and Brandon Glover in 4th with 38.9. And here comes the bottle hog now through the final sector, final corners to start his lap. He's got a Red Bull behind him, so it's nice to see 2 Red Bulls close to each other. And let's see how he takes turn 1 and 2. And 3. Nice and tidy. Rides the curb a little bit. Takes the exit curb. Oh, loses the back end. Very unstable there, as he's had no practice at all. I do know that Callum Manson has made it then. As I said, he may not be able to turn up as he goes down the big, long straight, as you said, Jack, the DRS zone. But fortunately, they will not get DRS today in these classic cars. He does a 28.2. Apparently purple in sector 1. Oh, loses the rear end again. That Red Bull is very tail happy, like the Ferraris. And right now, Sondre is probably just trying to get a banker lap in, stay focused, and see what he can do in this race today. As now he's down the long straight. And as you were saying, Jack?
Sorry, I thought you were giving me a cue there to speak, but I think Sondre, he has potential. He's quite a relatively quick driver, I'd say. F1 pace just about, maybe high-end F2 now, but Sondre seems to be relatively quick. He's just having a lot of trouble with that rear end, which is definitely slowing him down.
Oh yeah, I do agree there. He is possible F2 next season. Oh, he loses rear end again. As people did say he should have been F2 this season actually, which has been with Tadronis in F2, who unfortunately didn't win the championship, who looked quite favourite to win it. But Ryan won the F2 championship in the end. But it's about the exhibition series for Sondre Sohaug today, as he's now coming through the final couple of corners, nice and tidy, doesn't invalidate. Going through the final corner then, we'll go on a TV pod view to see what time he will do. And it's a 1:40.3, goes P5 with Sam in 6th with 42 flat, and Riceman is 42.4 in 7th place.
I mean, it's not the best lap for Sondre. I'm not surprised it was a bit of a
just crashed.
Slower lap, if I'm honest. What's that?
He just put it in the wall.
I stopped looking at him. Oh, Sondre.
That is the bottle hard for you.
Yeah, that's why he gets his name.
To the right, and Ollie Flavel is on a in-lap, I believe. He's invalidated. I don't think anybody is out on a actual lap, so we'll look for a car who's ahead. And isn't Kevin? I think it might be Paco Suarez. There's Luke Baker.
Got nice trainer cars behind Paco, to be fair.
Yep, that is true.
Oh, nice.
Actually, it'll be Jamie Morris there, it looks like. As Pedro is on a lap, so if you want to go on board with Jamie Morris, Jack, he's about to start his lap.
Sure. And I know Jamie Morris, I'm not sure how he's going to fare in these classic cars. I know he absolutely cooks his gearbox. I've never known anyone cook a gearbox so badly in my life. But he absolutely roasts it, so maybe we'll see another famous Jamie Morris gearbox blowout. But, you know, he has potential to be a good driver, but he's not the most consistent, I'd say. He has a tendency for crashing like quite a few drivers I know on this grid. I think the biggest thing today will be keeping out of the wall and not crashing, as Jamie might encounter a little bit of traffic, looks like, from a Ferrari and a McLaren, so all three cars on the track in the same part of the track, which is it's quite cool to have kind of the variety. Most people going with the Red Bull, but still enough people in the Ferrari and McLaren to make it interesting, see differences in the cars and the strengths. But Jamie opting for the Red Bull, so he's definitely going to be quicker in the corners, and he seems to have a lot more rear end stability than what Sondre did, as he hops on the curb. Never mind what I said about the stability, hopped on the curb, almost went into the wall, losing his car just a little bit, which is most definitely lost him time. But he's still going to continue with this lap. There's a car behind him who hopefully doesn't catch up to him too badly. It doesn't look like it though. Jamie Morris, I think it's going to be a decent time from him. I think probably potential top 5, because this seems to be quite a strong. Never mind, he's invalidated as he cut that curb just a little bit too much and it abandons that lap, so it's disappointing for Jamie.
Yeah, that is disappointing for Jamie. Then Luke Baker then, who's also made a mistake through turn 13 in the hairpin, which on the new games actually got DRS on here as well, and he's got wing damage on the right end plate. He's lost his end plate, and that McLaren looks awesome.
It really does.
The colour scheme is not like that anymore. It's orange, blue and black, so maybe we may see this colour scheme since they're going back to Mercedes engines maybe in the future. But his lap is game over, as I believe Mystic was the next one in the other McLaren on a lap right now, as he looks like he's got a mini Jensen Button helmet there. Blue top, that's what Borden would usually run. Mystic. Ex-Mystic, I don't know his real name, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, I see that now. I think he's called Ross Denham.
Ross Denham.
We've also got Mr. Matthew Alder on a lap right now, coming up to the hairpin.
Okay, well,
he seems much quicker on this lap.
Well, you keep an eye on Matthew then, and I'll keep an eye on Mystic then, and I'll tell you what time Mystic does, and then you can tell me the time of Matthew Alder.
Okie dokie.
That's Mystic right now then, through the little tunnel. Backs off a little bit there, too much possibly, cost him a little bit of time. But he's a bit cautious, I've noticed as well, and I think his time's going to be a bit far off pole position. I think it's going to be a 1:43. No, it's a 42.3 though, goes 8th. And you said
not
Matthew
the best lap from him, but here comes Matthew. He's about to finish his lap, coming into the final corner. I think this is going to be a professional pole time from Matthew. It is a professional pole time by Matthew, but only by half of a tenth. Oh, that's really OCD friendly though. Look at that. What was his name? Sorry, Epic the animal. Logan. He's got 38 exactly. That's really nice to see. And then you got Matthew with a nice round number as well. That's beautiful to see. I love seeing that. It's amazing.
Well, that is true, of course. Matthew will be a bit annoyed. He could have probably gained a bit more time with that, but he'll be happy he's sitting on the front seat right now, as he had a poor F2 race. I think he only won the last F2, the sprint race, but the feature race he didn't win. He got a podium in the end. But speaking about a person who did win is Lewis Curtis. He won the feature race, I believe. And right now he is in the Ferrari as well as Matthew Alder, as this is going to be like a little mini championship expedition series. So the standings will be up to date by next week. Sondre's had a bit of issues with his computer, but it should be all good. But right now though, Lewis Curtis is in the lead. Ooh, correct in steering there, almost hits the wall. Very close and personal to that wall there. Nice and tidy exit there though, as we have seen the two Ferraris went off earlier on, as he's really struggling with that rear end. It looks like the McLaren is more stable. Cuts the corner, and that's an invalidation, and that's an illegal pit entry. But yeah,
nah, it doesn't matter.
But the Red Bulls are leaving, and as you were saying, Jack,
what do you think will be the biggest struggle for some of the drivers today? I think that, I mean, Lewis Curtis, I think he's going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is going to be able to do it. I think Lewis Curtis is the Ferrari drivers are going to really struggle on their grip and their downforce in the corners, I think, and McLaren is kind of in the middle. Red Bull going to struggle straight high speed as we've just lost Lou Baker. It seems he's actually had a crash, so that's not good for him. But yeah, what points this track and what things in the car do you think the drivers today are going to be struggling with the most around this track?
Well, it's a 50% race distance, so Sam's left the session. Hopefully he can make it back. I would say tyre wear, because you don't want to do too many laps on the same tyre you have, because if you do want to try the zero stop to the end, you're gonna have to avoid doing too many laps on your qualifying tyre. They are durable, these tyres, of course. As Brandon was trying it out yesterday, he's currently in 3rd place, as Ollie Favell has invalidated and done a 39 flat. But no, I think it's mainly tyre wear issues and damage not to get damaged into turn 1. They're going to have to be careful for.
Yeah, the first 3 corners are very tricky, I find, on this track, especially after the start. We saw that in 2017 when you had Kimi, Seb, I think Verstappen and Ricciardo all having...
Alonso.
What was that?
And Alonso as well.
And Alonso, yeah. There's a big crash off the start or something in Singapore coming to the first 3 corners, so yeah, I think that's going to be quite a struggle for the drivers today. It's hard to do, but I think most people can get through there fine, but they'll definitely be damaged in this race, there's no doubt about that, and I think there's a very big chance of a safety car.
Yeah, I agree with that. The safety car, well, since its recent fix, like a month ago, it has been a bit more active. There's more yellow flags. Someone's gone off in the final set. That is Paco Suarez. Paco has lost it looks like, through the final corner. Unfortunately, we won't be able to go on board with that, as we're on board with Ollie, who's on a lap. It's just done at 1:55 in Sector 2, apparently purple. Callum has also left session. Delta has retired, as we've got 3 minutes remaining in the session as well. Maybe was the contact between Paco and Delta, as Pedro, who won against Matthew twice in the wet conditions, I believe, did a 37.8. So he's a bit, almost a whole 10th ahead of Matthew there, Jack.
I mean, yeah, I think that's it's interesting. Pedro's quick, but I think Matthew is quicker, but maybe the McLaren is just performing a little bit better than the Ferrari is, which I think is quite likely that the McLaren's got a little bit better downforce and kind of the middle engine, but I do like Pedro's helmet. Kind of gives you some Senna vibes. So he's Brazilian after all.
Oh yeah, that is true, of course. And speaking about Senna vibes, Brandon Glover with the Senna helmet is on another lap there, Jack, if you want to go on board and go on his lap and commentate.
Who's that?
Brandon Glover.
Yes, I can do that.
Okay.
He is on lap. He's just come out. Yeah, he's gone down onto the big long straight, coming through turn 6 into turn 7. Of course, this is going to be the biggest overtaking opportunity, I think, on this track. That's when most drivers are going to be able to make their overtakes. He's gone a little bit wide there, doesn't invalidate, so he's using a little bit more track than what you could normally do, keeping it in higher gears for that extra traction. Revving out that car, which still sounds pretty cool, getting really close to that wall. That wall, I think, could catch somebody out today, give someone some wing damage, hitting that curb nicely, really attacking this track. It seems like Brian's able to do quite nicely. Yeah, he's got the attack on the car, I find, is... Actually, yeah, he managed to make that happen quite nicely. I thought he was going to lose the rear end, but he kept it steady. I mean, as him being a rally driver, quite a talented rally driver, I think maybe he's got that little bit extra car control. That's why he maybe chose the Ferrari. Maybe he just prefers the Ferrari, but I like to think deeper into things. Really using a lot of that track, though, getting close to the walls. I think it's going to be a good lap from Brand. He seems to be going quite quickly. I think this is going to challenge some of the top times for sure. Logan getting out of his way. Brand really... Oh, never mind, he's invalidated, actually. He's invalidated his lap, but if he crosses the line, which he will do, he'll go for another lap. This lap would have been a 38 flat, so... would have just been behind Logan. Wouldn't have gone up any positions, but would have kept his 4th place a little bit more secure on us. So I think that might have been Lewis setting a lap there.
Lewis Curtis there, does a 38.5 then. Riceman has retired. It looks like he's lost the car completely, as we'll go on board with Matthew, who's just improved, I think. It said it was purple in sector 3. Actually, no, he's on a lap now. There's someone actually finishing off their lap. I think that's Kevin.
Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin.
Oh yeah, he hasn't actually set a lap yet. He's just started his lap actually.
Bothouse retired. I've actually noticed that.
Oh yeah, that was.
We'll see how the former world champion IRL F2, Kevin Harrison, can do. As it is, can be disheartening to lose a championship if you're up there again. And me and Kevin have both been at that. Kevin beat me in the IRL F2 in season 6, and then Kevin unfortunately got beaten by Ryan, who was a very surprise shout for the championship. Was Jamie Morris. Looks like he's going to be starting at the back of the grid in 17th with that retirement. As Kevin Harrison then is going to try to set a lap time on the board, as a lot of drivers haven't set lap times of Paco Suarez, Ollie Pavel, Luke Baker, Delta and Jamie Morris. Well,
Kevin is on his wheel today, so
he's on his wheel.
Yeah, he won't be quite up in his usual pace, so I don't think we should expect too much from Kevin, but hopefully he can challenge kind of the lower end of the points, so kind of top 10 I think he'd be aiming for. I think Kevin can do it. He just needs to keep the car on the track. I know he was really struggling with traction earlier on today, but I've given him a few pointers on his setups, which probably isn't as good as someone like, I don't know, someone in a top team like Matthew or something, having those really good setups. But for someone with more basic setups, Kevin's now got a slightly better one than he did before. So I think Kevin's got potential, but it's not going to be up to his usual best. He's actually invalidated his time and spun into the wall.
That was complete lack of grip then. You can just tell he's not really used to his wheel, and he'll be very disappointed with that, as it was going to be a lap time on the board. He's going to be 12th though, midfield. He's just going to have to hope he gets a lot more traction in that Red Bull, a lot more grip to stabilise his car, as we'll go on board with Lewis Curtis has lost his front wheel. So maybe that's why he didn't do another lap time. But that is qualifying over for Singapore.
Not bad, not bad. I think the grid's quite a bit more spaced out than I was expecting, but the top 5 relatively close.
That is true, of course, as Pedro then does a 137.8, Matthew Otto does a 137.95, or 900ths off. Logan in 3rd with a 138 flat, so he didn't improve his lap time at all through that qualifying session. Brandon Glover did improve but invalidated, so he stays 4th. Lewis Curtis in 5th, Sondre Sohal in 6th, Adam in 7th, Mystic in 8th, Joe Hollis 9th, Sam in 10th, Iceman 11th, Kevin Harrison, Paco Suarez, Ollie, Luke Baker, Delta and Jamie Morris, neither setting a lap time.
I mean, those drivers at the back who didn't set a lap time, quite a few quick names in there. I think Ollie was in that little group as well, so, you know, one of your race predictions for being up there in this race is right down the back of the grid, so they're going to want to, you know, really push to try and get back up to the front to be where they maybe belong as such. But, you know, quite a few drivers I wasn't expecting to be down the grid are now down the grid because they just didn't set time, and that's Fred. I'll be one sec.
And as Fred then comes into the room then.
Never mind. He's gone again.
Well, yeah, I do agree with what you're saying. Well, yeah, you're right. Ollie has had a poor qualifying, not set a time, so he's got a lot to do if he wants to make my prediction win. But you know, anything can happen. There could be a huge crash into turn 1, so which I'm not hoping for, as we have a car missing off the grid. So I think one of the drivers in here, and I believe that is Sam. He did lag out. And yes,
yeah, he did.
And I don't know if there's going to be a restart or anything like that if he rejoins the session before the end of the formation lap. But Pedro then is in the lead in a McLaren. So we have a McLaren, a Ferrari, then a Red Bull. Then a Ferrari, Red Bull, Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull. Red Bull, Ferrari, Red Bull. There's a lot more Red Bulls than McLarens. I think there's only 2 McLarens, it looks like. Or maybe 3.
I'm going through that 1, 2.
Well,
yeah, we've got a solid 2 McLarens. Okay. Ah,
2 McLarens.
I wasn't expecting that.
No, I wasn't. I thought there was
not
a
much
lot
love
more.
them.
No, you are correct there.
some of them lagged out, so.
I think only one of them lagged out, to be fair. I think it was like Sam, so hopefully he can make it back. As I think, Delta as well, he was a McLaren, he's also lagged out, so that's unfortunate for him. Yeah. But Pedro in the top step. Now, the McLaren is quick, but I think it's like the second quickest in the straight line. I think it's better on acceleration. I think the Ferrari's quickest in the straight line.
I think so as well. With the Mercedes engine, they've all got different engines, so that's always interesting. So all these cars have kind of got their strengths and their weaknesses. McLaren is the exact middle. Ferrari's more straight line speed with lack of downforce. Red Bull lack of straight line speed, more downforce. So the McLaren is right in the middle of that. Average downforce, average speed. So I mean, I was expecting the Red Bull to come out on top today, but instead it's kind of almost the opposite way around, with Logan the highest Red Bull today, with Matthew in the Ferrari and then Pedro up top in that McLaren. So I'm quite surprised with the results of the qualifying, but it really all comes down to the race. That's what matters.
Well, that is true, of course, and nobody would expect Matthew Older then not to be in the top step. That's twice now he hasn't qualified at the front row, and it may let him down in the race, it may not. But we are waiting for the final Red Bulls to line up on the grid, as we're waiting for the Ferrari, I believe, of Jamie Morris. Yeah, I think it is, isn't it? No, it's Paco Suarez we're waiting for. As the light sequence is about to start, Jack, if you can look at the back in case there's a massive crash and I miss it.
For sure.
As the sequence of the start lights have started now, we're at 3 lights, now 4 lights, now 5 red lights, and to start the Exhibition Series Round 2 at Singapore. And it looks like the Red Bulls had a great start in third, and that is Logan, who already takes the lead into turn 1. Pedro has a poor start, goes to third, and Matthew Older stays in second, but jumps the old leader. As there is Lewis Curtis and Mystic, and there's been a bit of a crash, it looks like, further behind.
Yeah, Brand went very, very wide off the start, and a lot of drivers still going side by side. As you can see, Paco making up quite a few positions, as there's been a few lagged out drivers, but the straight line speed of Paco not really coming into effect against this Red Bull. He's still going to try around the outside, he's going for it. He's going to go around the outside of Jamie Morris, except it couldn't quite come off for him. Jamie goes up the inside of Ollie Flavel on his Red Bull teammate, in a way, makes a little bit of contact, moving himself up into 10th place. Ollie Flavel still going side by side with him. Hopefully he doesn't push him too far into the wall. Paco Suarez is going to try and make the most of this position. Hopefully not taking the 3 wide, because that would not go well. The 2 Red Bulls still going side by side, fighting very, very hard. Jamie Morris lets that to except Paco hasn't given up just yet. He's still going to make that move, and he has got it done for now. Ooh. And never mind, actually, he's lost the rear and he's lost the position to Kevin Harrison as well.
Yeah, he did lose the position to Kevin Harrison. There was a little bit of contact there, and I think Kevin just has no power in that Red Bull with traction. And now look at Brandon, who was in 4th. He's in 14th now and already trying to make his way through, so he's had a very bad start. But we're going to also have to keep an eye on the front run as well, of Adam and Mystic battling it out for P5, it looks like. Oh, bit of carbon fibre there from Joe Hollis. Lost the front end plate there, and that is going to hurt him. But it could be a benefit. Could pit, go to the end and just set some very strong lap times to retake the lead, but with 1 tyres to the end of the race.
I mean, actually he does do exactly that. He's decided to pit now, so it's going to be an interesting strategy from now on with Joe. I'm not really sure what the classic car strategies are around this track, but already I'm seeing some pretty big gaps which I wasn't expecting. But the closest one right now, we've got Jamie Morris behind Ollie Flavel, and then behind Reese March as well. So the Red Bull is being quite far down in this race, which is something I really wasn't expecting at all. So, you know, I mean, my expectations have gone out the window, and it's going to be a complete surprise to me. Except here comes Jamie Morris coming into turn 7. He's going to be able to go up the inside of Ollie Flavel if he can. He looks at it, so he decides to back out and let Ollie Flavel have the corner. Just let him through, let him have it, not fighting too early on in this race, maybe trying to save tyres. Ollie losing the rear. So yeah, maybe Jamie's just trying to save the tyres, not get involved in too many fights nearer to the start, as this is a very long race to try and get through, with tyre wear and tyre temperatures being quite a big important factor of this track.
Well, that is true, of course. We're only on lap 31, but here comes Ollie Flavel, licks the stamp and sends it into turn 13 there on Reisman. And look at Jamie Morris, look how aggressive he's going today. He's on the outside now of Ollie Flavel. He's going to go very deep. Oh, Ollie has to give him room. And they're still side by side. Perfect race between these two drivers. Paco Suarez. Oh no, so that's Brandon Glover now into 10th place. I thought it was Paco. And now Brandon is getting heated up in the Ferrari. Right behind. Very interesting.
Brandon made a very, very nice move on Reece March, which I found quite surprising. But Jamie Morris coming out on top against his fellow Red Bull of Ollie Flavel. So Jamie Morris has already accelerated quite far away. He seems to be quite strong on pace today. He's got 2.5 seconds to make up on Sondre Sorhaug, so he's going to want to push and try and do that, except Paco, he's out behind Reece March. I don't think that's... But oh, Paco almost sends it into the back of Reece. Only just missing his rear end, got a little bit late on the brakes, had to swing off the track. I was about to say he hasn't got the quite straight line speed I would be expecting from the Ferraris. As we always know, Ferraris have really strong engines, and Matthews actually fighting with Logan up at the front. The Red Bull's taking the lead. Matthews pokes him just a little bit up the gearbox. I had a nice voice crack, sorry about that. But Matthew dropping out the lead, Logan taking the lead again, and Pedro is moving down. So maybe the McLaren just hasn't quite got the race pace compared to the Ferrari and the Red Bull, which seem to be quite competitive during the race.
That might be true, of course. However, I've noticed on Matthew's car, he's low on fuel. So he's trying to run quick laps with low fuel to try and catch the Ferrari. But don't count out Pedro yet. Pedro maybe just banking, saving his tyres and trying the zero stop strategy, which I think you're allowed to do in the 50%. I don't think you have to pit with the classic cars. It is classic cars, it isn't the modern day cars. But Matthew Order though, as we will stay on board with this battle for the lead then. We'll keep an eye on other battles as well. But I think Matthew could possibly take Logan in the next couple of laps. I'm still surprised Logan's in the lead for this long. This isn't like Matthew to stay behind a driver for this long unless it's in the modern cars.
I mean, he's got no DRS advantage. We've got a yellow flag. That looks like it may be... That's Kevin Harrison off. He's lost the traction and he's spun round. I don't know what his damage situation is. Yeah, almost entire front left of his wing has gone. So Kevin Harrison not having a good race.
Lewis Curtis and the other Ferrari had a poor qualifying in 5th place. Could have been up there, and he's had to peel into the pits now. As Matthew Orr now is getting closer and closer, also for a new wing there. Some more damage to the Ferraris, I've noticed. The Ferraris are going to have a big bill in the end of this race.
Jamie Morris and Sondre, sorry, they're having a little bit of a fight. They're going side by side coming into turn 7. It's going to be Sondre on the inside. If he can keep that position, pushing Jamie just a little bit, except Jamie, he seems really confident today, really quick. He's gained 2.5 seconds, it's only a couple of laps, and he's got past Sondre, and now he's hopefully going to be fighting with Ross Denham and Adam Corrigan just ahead of him. So Jamie is absolutely flying from the back of the grid. I mean, it's quite a big gap to the cars up the front, but with the pace that he's got right now and the way he's going, already almost fighting with Adam, I think we could be seeing Jamie possibly fighting for a podium or more today.
Well, you are correct there. Jamie looks really hungry. I haven't seen him like this for a while. I have raced with him before, and he's a very clean racer. He's improved a lot all season long. Matured. I had a bit of a collision at the start of season 7. Oh, and Sondre Sorhaug's planted it into the wall there, and that is a VSC. Possibly to wake Sondre up, because I think he just fell asleep on the wheel there and just went straight into the wall and has got big chunk damage and will need to peel into the pits. But as I was saying about JME though, he has matured and improved all season long. As Kevin gets a penalty, that's 9 seconds of penalties he has now. He's really racking them up. But will JME be able to challenge Pedro, Matthew Order and Logan? Because the gap's quite big. It's right about 13 seconds already, and we're only on lap 5.
Okay, so got Ollie pulling into the pits now, but yeah, certainly Jamie, he's a good driver, but I think sometimes he just crashes or spins or something a little bit too often. But he's matured and he's started getting better and that sort of thing, keeping the car on the track. So maybe Jamie, if you can keep the car on the track and everything today, he's definitely going to be challenged for something big. As his first safety car's been out for longer than I was expecting.
Yeah, but
there
now
you go, now we're racing
green.
again. Adam Corrigan, he's got a really good restart. Jamie Morris is just behind him. It's going to be Adam going round the outside of the McLaren on turn 7. Ross Denham going very slowly. Jamie Morris has to sit in behind for now. Adam Corrigan moving himself up into P4. 10-second gap to the podium positions ahead though, so it's going to be a long way for those drivers to try and go to get a podium today. Ross Denham moves down 1 position into P5. being the second highest McLaren and only the second McLaren. But Jamie Morris is still giving him trouble all over his rear end, not letting him forget that he's there. But that bright pink helmet of Jamie really glowing up in the dark.
That is true, of course. Jamie is picking up the pace, but he has to watch out. Brandon Glover's right behind him, who looked a lot quicker in the Ferrari, who's doing a recovery drive, basically. Oh, hang on. Mystic's gone off. What's he doing?
Oh, so he has.
He's
completely off in the runoff.
I don't know if he's retiring or what, because he's gone completely off, trying to correct the car, and he's just spun.
I think...
No, he's not doing donuts. I thought he was doing donuts then, but he's alright.
I thought so too.
And he moves back to 9th. So he is going to have to do a recovery drive as well there, just locking up it looked like, and made a mistake, because we'll go back on board with Jamie Morris now, who's really closing up with Adam. And look at the straight line speed he closed there, and he could possibly make a dive into turn 1. No, he doesn't. He stays behind. And how long do you think Jamie will stay behind Adam there, Jack?
Not long at all. He's going to be making the move in the next sector or two. I don't know. He's going to want to clear Adam as quick as he physically possibly can. If he has the straight line speed on Adam, I think he'll be into this corner, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to do anything about it. No DRS, of course, so it's all on engine power and slipstream. Sits behind Adam for now, but it's not going to be long until Jamie clears him and rides off into the distance. He's, I think, a little bit more. Oh, Adam has lost the rear. This is going to be Jamie's chance. He's going to go for it. He's going to go up the inside of Adam. He's got a little bit deep. Adam is going to try and get a switch back, except he has to concede that position, drop back into P5, maybe try and fight Jamie to get that P4 back. But Jamie, I think he's too quick. And Adam, he's going to have to focus on his defence to Brandon Glover, who also seems to be picking up the pace a little bit. You know, into... Oh, he's gone up the inside, actually. Brandon, he's gone for it. He's lost Ross Denham.
He has to get the position back via C. Hang on, he has to give the position back. He wasn't ahead. He wasn't the car ahead. He has to give the position back. That was weird. And he does.
Oh, okay.
So he drops back and gives the position back there. Adam stays in 5th place. But speaking about Bran, he has a new wheel today. I believe it's the T300 Thrustmaster or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So he is on his new wheel because his old G29 is actually broken.
Oh no! Matthew's just got a drive through.
It's happened again. The 2-time world champion has bottled under a VSC.
Is this something he's done before?
He did something similar in Britain, I believe. He had a drive-through penalty or something, and he had like a pit stop window gap of the lead anyway, so he lost a lot of time, and he will not be happy with that. And it's basically given Logan a very high chance, and Pedro, to try and win this race. So jump back forward on Adam.
Jamie's got a long way to go, but Bran, he's all over the back of Adam right now. I think this is going to be his chance now if he can get the exit of this corner right, which he doesn't quite get as good as that Red Bull. Of course, it's the Red Bull's superior downforce for the engine. He's closing, but it's not going to be enough. He pulled off a fantastic move into the hairpin just like that before. Oh, Adam, he's lost the rear though. He's done it again. Now this gives Brand the opportunity to try and go round the outside. Ooh. Adam gives him a big squeeze, a little bit of wheel rubbing, a little bit of contact, except Adam, I think he's going to have to give up that position, and it's going to be Brand's position to take Adam. He lost the rear again, which lost him the position to Jamie, and now has lost him the position to Brand. But he's going to move back up into P5, of course, when Matthew serves his drive-through. As Kevin is picking up so many penalties. That's not like him. That's not normal for Kevin.
That's not normal for Kevin. He must be not used to that wheel yet, and it does take a while for me and experience. I'm only just getting to the pace of F3 drivers in IRL, so it has took me a while. I have actually had to break from a wheel a bit because I've been busy with personal stuff, but I do know what it's like. Right now though, Brandon may have made the move. Oh, Adam, very close to that wall. You could put a toothpick in between that tyre and that wall there. That's how close it was. And Logan sets a new fastest lap. Matthew turns his drive through. So let's pay attention when Matthew will come out after he says driver Jamie Morris sets a new fastest lap, body point 4, and to right, he deserves that fastest lap. He is the quickest driver at the moment on the grid, and he is flying. It gap to Pedro 11.6 seconds. It was 12.4 last lap.
Matthew looks like he's going to come out just behind Adam Corrigan. He's going to be comfortably ahead of Paco Suarez. Also, Matthew's got a little bit of time to make up to Adam ahead of him. Depending on pit stops, though, it's going to be Interesting to see what Matthew could do in this race. Of course, he's definitely one of the quickest drivers here, so he can make up that time to the drivers ahead. Adam Corrigan maybe not being the quickest driver in the world, as long as he keeps on the track. He's pretty decent, he's been improving a lot recently, that's for certain, but no real fights actually going on the track right now, so I think the biggest talking point now is what can Matthew do in this race to try and come back and try and get himself back up onto that podium.
Well, yeah, that is true, because one of the ways he could come back is literally put the car in save mode. Like, literally save all the fuel you can. As there's yellows ahead. Is that Logan? We'll go on board with Logan right now. It's not. It's Joe Hollis.
It's
Joe
Joe.
Hollis has lost the full front wing, and I'm surprised that hasn't caused a safety car. He has Ghost, luckily, his Ghost is on. And he will need to pit for a new front wing. He's having a... Oh, he just hits the wall there. Completely went straight into that. Couldn't turn. And he is out of the race as well. A Ferrari and a McLaren out. Next is a Red Bull.
I mean, maybe the Red Bulls are going to keep on the track. I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see what how the Red Bull drivers fare. I don't think we've seen too many Red Bulls in many incidents today, so I don't know, anything could happen. We have Kevin going to the pits. I think he's lost some of his wing though, which is disappointing.
Yeah, that's true, of course. I'll tell you what isn't disappointing. Matthew actually catching up with Adam already. Gap now 9/10 of a second, so he's already closed that 2-second gap within the lap. That's how much Matthew is pushing, and he isn't helping himself if he wants to do a zero-stop strategy. He needs to save the tyres and save the fuel, but if he can push and save the tyres at the same time, that is a good trait to have, and it is Matthew Alder. I wouldn't be surprised for him not to have that trait, and right now he's on the back of Adam.
He's set purple sector as well, he's already on the back of him. He's much quicker than Adam right now, and I think his main focus is to get back up to the top of that grid, get back close to the front, and the way he's going to have to do that is to clear Adam Corrigan. He's going to want to do that quickly, and officially he's going to go for it. That was not a move I was expecting. He's trying to hold it around the outside on Adam. He's going for it. Oh, he's made contact, almost going around. He's getting saved by Adam in a way, just about getting saved. He's lost the rear into him. I think he's got a bit of damage as well. He has.
That's his own fault there, in my opinion there. He just too cooked it too early in that corner. That's not an overtaking corner unless you're really side by side, and you weren't even side by side. So it's kind of justice, and he will not be happy with that. And that's possibly the game plan, to save your tyres and fuel out the window, pit for a new front wing and just push and take the tyres to the end and try and do a recovery drive. It is Matthew, could do it as Pedro gets a penalty.
It was a brave move, but I'm not sure if it's the right move. He could have waited a little bit, but we're going to have to see what Matthew decides to do now. If he decides to, pit for a new wing, new tyres and everything, but I think he will pit in this race. I don't think he'll try and continue with a non-stop, so... Kevin, what is going on with Kevin today? He never gets penalties, but in the classic cars on the wheel, he's got some like 15-18 seconds now, and he's having an awful time.
That is true, of course, and now Matthew Alder now is back on board with Adam already, even with that wing damage, so it isn't possibly that much, and it isn't really affecting him. But he may get slowly caught up by Paco Suarez behind, as it's actually just increased the gap now, 5.7 seconds. Jamie's closed the gap to Pedro, 10.8 seconds now. And here comes Matthew then, he's ending it. Oh, Adam has to give him the space. Adam keeps on the inside, traction, and just look at that. Matthew Alder just easy peasy lemon squeezy there. Matthew just sends it on Adam, and it just succeeds round the outside with that wing damage.
That's why Matthew's one of the best. It's quite simple. Matthew, he's got that bravery, he's got that skill to be able to pull off kind of risky, not unsuspecting moves. So Matthew, he's definitely one of the best on this game. You can see that in his driving and his confidence. Despite having wing damage, he still went for it, so Matthew maybe still going to be able to fight for something in this race. It's a big gap to the cars ahead, but the only person within a second is Adam, but he's going to drop out of that very soon. But Lewis Curtis is just behind Ollie Flavel now, so the Red Bull and Ferrari again. Oh, Kevin's lost it into the wall. There goes Kevin. You saw that as he was a lap car just then. Kevin's race goes from bad to worse. He's having an awful time today. Ooh. Lewis just got really, really loose on the rear. Almost hit into the wall, but just on his helmet, it looks a little bit like Fernando Alonso's from the top. And never mind, no it doesn't.
Well, it's got a
I
bit
was
of
tricking
purple.
myself then.
If alongside a bit of purple on his helmet, then maybe. But right now, then, as you did say, Lewis Curtis is not that far behind Ollie. Would be DRS range for DRS, and whoa, that is Sondre Sohaug exceeded track limits. Paco Suarez is out, and there's
Another
a VSC. What has Paco done? It looks like he's lost it. Ooh, that's a weird incident.
I think he's lost the rear or something. He's, you know, kind of, you know, when the rear snaps out and you race on, you try and counter it, just pings you off into the wall. I think that's what might have happened to Paco there. I imagine.
Sondre's
just
now
got
in a
another
points
penalty,
position.
but
Sondre
I'm
Sohaug
surprised.
isn't it?
It's quite easy for him to keep that position now because, you know, the gap behind him is very, very large, of course. Is Kevin not having a good time, and then the other three drivers we see on our screen aren't actually here. So, you know, I'm quite surprised we haven't seen a full safety car, and it's just been virtual safety cars so far. So, you know, we've only got really 10 runners left in this race. As Kevin, he's way down the order. Sorry, I had a pizza before this. It keeps coming up at me. But yeah, the only real fight we've got out on the track right now, it's not really a fight, it's more just kind of a procession, and that's Lewis Curtis and Ollie Flavel just kind of sitting together, chilling really, just vibing.
Yeah, that is true though, but Lewis Curtis looks like he's in a bit more of an attack mode. Probably picked up the fuel a little bit more. Now Ollie's a bit under pressure, and this is where the Ferrari can come into its own, but then this is where the Red Bull then can come into its own in the cornering section. Straight line, it's Ferrari all day, but in the corners, Red Bull will have you. As Matthew Older peels into the pits, so you were right, Matthew then pits for front wing change, and where will he be when he rejoins? Because he's definitely going to be behind Ollie and Lewis Curtis, so he's got a lot to do to catch up, and we could have a new winner today in these classic cars, and it will be Logan or Pedro, possibly, in this Expedition Series, because I believe it was only Lewis Curtis and Matthew Older who won races, so we'll have a new winner then.
We will indeed. So there's not really much going on the track right now. I think most drivers need to keep it out of the wall, but Lewis Curtis, he's pushing to try and get Ollie, except I think Ollie's a little bit quicker in the, or obviously he's a little bit quicker in the corners as he's in a car that's more powerful in the corners, but Matthew Older moving down into P10, so that's really disappointing for him. I know he's not going to be happy at all with that. Very disappointed. Stuff happens, I guess, but he's still going to be very, very quick. It's not going to be the podium whatever I would be expecting from him, but you know, I don't doubt that he'll still be able to maybe push for top 5 if possible.
Yeah, that could be true. Possibly a top 5, maybe a top 4 could be on the cards, as Pedro has pitted then. So Pedro's made his scheduled stop, as I don't think there's going to be a battle anytime soon with Lewis Curtis and Ollie. So we're going to go on board as Pedro's got wing damage. So he's going for a new front wing. That's why he's pitted. And then McLaren is out of the box. Where is he going to be? I think he's going to be
Sondre's crashed again.
Ballhag has crashed. It's the ball.
Yep. Bottle being a bottle, bottling like a bottle.
Ooh, he's got a bit of damage on that rear, the front wing there. A little bit of damage. We'll need to pit. Adam is also in then. So he's making his scheduled stop. Has he got wing damage? It looks like he has. And yeah, front wing damage as well. So a lot of people are struggling with the front wings today. And I think Red Bull and Ferrari are going to run out of front wings as it is. You know, like there's a lot of front wings being damaged today in today's race.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that. But Sondre also gets a 5-sticker penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so well done, Sondre. We're proud of you. But Ollie, he's actually really caught up to Reece March ahead of him. I think Reece March might have had an issue. He's gone very, very slowly compared to Ollie and Lewis Curtis, so maybe he'll let them through, not really fight too much, but he's going much slower than them. I think that's... Oh, Ollie! I saw that, just started wiggling across the straight. That was terrifying. Ollie having a big tank slapper. Just that Lewis Curtis close up a little bit, but Reece March has gone very slowly. I'm not sure why. There's about a 3-second gap between them, but Lewis, he just needs to get that exit on Ollie, and maybe he'd be able to make the move. Ollie's sizing him up now. Is he going to be able to launch it? No, he waits.
Is that Kevin who's gone off again, or is that Sondre? Because Sondre was just in the pits. There's yellows in sector 1, but right now, oh, here comes Lewis Curtis. Oh, so close to Weissman. Oh, he's still there on the inside. Lewis Curtis is going to go on the outside, possibly. And wow, already Lewis Curtis really wants to get ahead of these two Red Bulls. He is quicker in the straights and that, and I think he will be the quicker driver if he got past. But Ollie is just doing an amazing job defending that Red Bull, making it wide as possible in P6 right now.
He's just turned it into a bus, but he's also kind of been saved a little bit by Reece March ahead of him, who kind of blocked Lewis Curtis's move from, you know, happening. So Reece March got in the way a little bit, not his fault, he's just driving, so there's not much he could do about that. But Lewis Curtis, he's just going to have to sit and wait. They're all definitely quicker than Reece March, and Ollie looks like he's going to be able to try and make a move around the outside. Oh, there's a bit of contact between Lewis and Ollie. I think I've just seen a little bit of carbon fibre come off as well. Yeah, Lewis has lost his left end plate. Ollie's had to let him through. Here comes Lewis as well. Reece defends the inside. Lewis is going to go around the outside into turn 7. He's going to go for it. Reece March, he's trying to defend as well. Ollie, he's going to go over the inside into turn 8. He tries... Kevin gets disqualified, which I wasn't expecting. Lewis loses his rear end really violently. Ollie Flavel, he's out fighting with him. He's going to try and go up the inside. Lewis's wing damage is not going to help him at all. Ollie sits behind as they try the move just yet, sits and waits. This is where we had Matthew make his mistake trying to make a move through there. So Ollie has backed out for now, and Reece March sits behind them, and he's probably going to lose time now as he does not seem to be as quick as these two. And there goes Lewis Curtis.
Oh yeah, that is true, of course. Lewis Curtis now pulling away with that wing damage, and we saw earlier on Matthew was a bit quicker than a Red Bull driver with wing damage, and someone's pitted. That's Bottle Howell in 10th, and I wasn't expecting Kevin Harrison to be disqualified, and Sondre Swagg's got a 5 second, as you said earlier on, under the ESC, I think it was. Red Bull crew making sure the car is okay, and they're going off the jacks,
Lewis.
and they're off.
He's made an absolutely huge mistake, and Ollie Flavel is going to get past him. Lewis Curtis is really struggling with this rear end. You can tell now those tyres are not working very well for him, and that wing damage is not helping either. He's just got a huge wiggle on the rear, gone off the track, and Ollie Flavel has just gone through.
Well, I'll definitely tell you one thing what Lewis Curtis doesn't want, and same with Ollie. Matthew Alder is just at the new fastest lap in 8th place, only 3.9 seconds off Rice. So he's not that far off. Jamie Morris has gained 16 positions in today's race. And he's the only one with Brandon Glover and Riceman not to make a pit stop.
Jamie is...
Whoa, Lewis!
Lewis! I wasn't paying too much attention there. I was trying to plug in my headset, but... Lewis, what happened there? Can you describe?
He lost the rear end. He tried to save it. Hit the wall. Hits the wall again. More damage to the Ferrari. He needs to pit. The Ferrari's front wing is lack of downforce anyway as it is, and right now it's just falling apart. As you can see, they're going over the bump. It's very flappy there, and it's just needs a new wing. And he's getting re-caught by Rice, who's not that far behind. And Jamie Morris, it's the new fastest lap, 39.1, just showing to Matthew. You don't need to be on fresh tyres to set fastest lap. And Matthew, speak about Matthew, takes P7. And tries to overtake Riceman on the outside. Riceman goes side by side there, gets a penalty, drops back off, and gives the position to Matthew. But Matthew will make a very easy overtake on Lewis Curtis, as long as it's not in a corner, because it'll be very tricky with Lewis's downforce levels at the moment. And will Lewis pit? That'll be a very interesting scenario. And that is definitely a corner cut.
Yeah.
Matthew Order there did a massive corner cut through that final corner, and he says he doesn't corner cut. We caught ya. And Matthew then into 6th place with Lewis Curtis and Riceman going into the pits. And will it be a pit stop fight, as we've got no battles, so we might as well watch the fight. Red Bull Mechanics having a slick stop. Reminds me of a Jensen Button helmet, that does actually, on the Red Bull there. And yep, Red Bull Mechanics win all day long. But not by that much, to be fair, probably a couple of seconds at least. Lewis Curtis,
I mean, Red Bull Mechanics are always good. We know that, but at least we're going to have a fight out on track now as they come out the pits. Lewis behind Reece. So, I think this is going to be a nice little fun battle. Lewis is definitely going to be quicker. I think it's going to be quite short-lived, but at least we've got something going on, though.
Yeah, that is true, of course. And I wasn't actually expecting the Ferrari to be actually this close out the pits with the front wing change, of course. Like, it's usually a 5-second wing change. So Here comes Lewis Curtis then, already making the move on Riceman, already around the outside, and the job is done. Will Riceman send it? Yes, he does. Licks the nose there to just tap his tyres, trying to let him know that he's there. But Lewis wasn't afraid and keeps the position in 8th, and now he needs to gain 9 seconds to catch up with Adam up ahead.
So that's that battle over quite quickly. I said it would be short-lived. It was a lot more short-lived than I was expecting, as he's already close up a gap. Now we got absolutely nobody within a second of each other, as there's only 10 drivers remaining, as we unfortunately had 3 drivers lag out at the start before the race even happened, and then we had 3 retirements and 1 disqualification. So I mean, this race has just got big gaps really. I mean, we've got 1 minute 47, 2 seconds 8 seconds, 23 seconds 2 seconds, 17 seconds 11 seconds, 2 seconds 8 seconds, so quite big gaps really. So we just gotta hope somebody closes the gap, and then strategy, I don't think it's really much of a thing anymore. Only 2 drivers haven't pit yet. They might. Hang on, who's that in the wall? I think that might. That's Adam Corrigan. Adam Corrigan bottling himself a P7, dropping down to P8, and
that's a big chunk of damage there. He's lost the full right of his wing.
How come Reese has lost so much time to Lewis?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Reese has got like a different setup on him. I like the helmet, like it reminds me of the Jensen Button days, but he needs to possibly pick up the pace a little bit. He's losing too much time. He's in a points position. He's going to lose a points position unless he retires. But right now, though, a man who is on a mission is Jamie Morris. Gap between him and Bran, 8.6 seconds. And Bran, I believe in IRL F1 this season, was ahead of Jamie in the points. So Jamie in a Red Bull and Bran in a Ferrari, it's roughly equal, basically. Basically, Red Bull's better on the front wing, but worse in the engine. Ferrari is better on the engine, but worse in the front wing. So it's basically an equal playing field. And Brandon is just getting played right now by Jamie. He's literally just dominating this race in the lead by 9.1 seconds and could possibly bring the gap to 10 seconds at least.
Yeah, Jamie, he's been quick all day. We've seen this from the start. Jamie is very, very quick. There's somebody who's also gone very quick is Matthew Alder. He's just behind Ollie Fowler. I'm not sure it's Matthew Alder or Alder. I think Alder sounds a little bit better, so sorry Matthew, love you lots. But he's getting very close to Ollie now. I think it's only a matter of time until he sets up his move on Ollie to get back into the top 5.
Oh yeah, that is true, of course. And here comes Matthew Alder then, as you have said, he is catching up to Ollie Flavel. And will Ollie fight him? Now, I know these two are friends, they talk a lot in the party, they will be in the same party, of course. But these lot are in theory in a mini championship battle. And you wouldn't think Matthew would be actually getting caught, as his yellow's in sector 2. Now, is that Adam? There's a safety car. It might be
safety car. We can have more fights. That's good. That's the one time I actually enjoy safety car, because this brings people closer together.
Does Jamie pit? Yeah, Jamie is going to take the lead then, it looks like, if he gets a slick pit stop, because these lot are going to have to go in the deltas. Jamie is into the pits. What about Bran? Will Bran stay out, or will he pit?
No, he's going to pit.
Yep. What about Logan? Logan stays out, so will Logan jump Jamie?
He can take him to the end.
Jamie's leaving the pits. Logan will take the net lead. As Adam there is being lapped actually, and Adam actually is not helping Logan. Jamie will take second. Pedro looks like he's going to take third unless he pits. Actually, Logan's got front wing damage. He may be the one who caused the safety car. He's got no front wing. He's only got a nose, and he's in the pits. So Pedro is having a worse day today, as he was in first and he's now in 4th place.
Yeah, Pedro, he had a really good quality, but the race just hasn't happened for him, so it's disappointing. He's still the highest running McLaren, so at least that's something.
Adam's been disqualified.
I really like some
ignoring
him. Of course he has. Of course he has.
I don't know if this is the glitch or has he? Hang on, has he gone past the safety car? Yeah, he has. I know he was a lap down, but like it is been in the rules for a while now that you're not allowed to pass the safety car.
It's Adam. Okay, we don't question Adam at this point. Just let him vibe. I don't even know anymore.
It looks like he will be disqualified then, it looks like.
The boy is impossible.
Jamie then in 2nd place, and he will not be happy that Brandon Glover will be in third, right behind him on a fresh set of tyres, fresh front wing. Pedro will be happy to catch up in fourth if he even does catch up with the safety car. Ollie Favell in fifth. Matthew Orden in sixth with Lewis Curtis right behind him in seventh there, which I didn't know Matthew actually made the overtake on Lewis earlier on. Riceman in eighth. Adam in ninth then, who's technically disqualified. And the Bottle Hog himself, even under the safety car, he's struggling to keep it under control as he lost the rear end there through turn 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm guessing, 4/5. So he's really struggling there with the rear end, and he is in the final point spot, but will be moved up one with Adam being DSQ'd. But then, Jack, one quick question I've got to ask you. When the safety car comes in now, we have over 10 laps left. Who do you think's going to win? Jamie, Brandon, Pedro, or Logan?
I think Jamie. Oh, Lewis Curtis just made a mistake on the safety car. Matthew's just gone past him. Not sure he's going to have to give the position back, but Lewis, he made a mistake on the safety car. Matthew just kind of slipped past him, took advantage. It looks like he's going to stay in front of him now, so Lewis himself a position, but I think it's going to be Jamie. I think he's the quickest today, and he is going to be able to take the lead off of Logan and then just go on to win.
To be fair, I'm going to have to agree with you. I think Jamie's going to be the quickest on track right now. He has pitted, fresh set of tyres. Don't count Matthew out though. He will be up there trying to get the position as quick as possible to try and challenge Jamie. But also don't count out Bran. He is going to be a factor, but he has to watch out for the McLaren, who has quick acceleration on his side.
He does indeed, but I think Jamie's just that little bit too quick. I really do. I think Jamie's the quickest driver today. I think he's the quickest in this race.
Yeah, I've got to agree, I think so too. And the safety car, I think, is going to come in this lap possibility. As Sandra peels into the pits, I think, for another front wing change. Yes, indeed. Somehow the Bottle Hog has done a garage on and crashed in the safety car. Somebody else in the pits. That is Adam, who's pitted. Needs a new fresh set of tyres, new front wing attached to the car, and he is away then. With Sandra Sohaug in 10th, Adam in 9th. But I think the safety car is coming in this lap then.
I assume so, which means we can finally have some good racing again. Hey, happy.
That is true,
at least people close now.
Yeah, a lot closer. It's good to see all the cars are still alive. Ferrari, McLaren and Red Bull. There's only one McLaren left. Only a couple of Ferraris left, but there's a lot of Red Bulls.
I think the Red Bulls have been the most consistent today, mostly. Maybe bar Adam or Kevin. So
yeah.
Also help. Okay, never mind. I take it back. No car's been consistent today. Actually, maybe the McLarens, because there's not many of them.
Oh, could say the McLaren's only one car. He's in fourth. You know.
he's
going out for another lap then. As we only have 10 cars in this race. 10 laps left of the race. Lap 21 out of 31. So, we're both saying Jamie Morris then for the win. Who do you think is going to take second and third?
Second or third? Anyone's game. Absolutely anyone's game. I have no idea.
I'm going to go with Pedro second, Logan third. I think the F2 driver Logan is a bit more than he can chew, in my opinion. He is a good driver, don't get me wrong. I have raced against him. He's very quick in the F2 division. But he's going against F1 drivers who are a bit high caliber than Jonas and Ryan and Kevin. So he has two options. Defend like hell. That's option one. The second option is literally floor the car through the walls and just lead the race. Like, he needs to defend as much as he can and also push at the same time. So that's his two options. His third option is just give all the positions to the drivers behind, but we don't want that because we want a race. We don't want easy moves. We want very hard moves and very aggressive moves, as we're just waiting on Adam and Sandra to catch up, and I think they're not even going to catch up within the safety car.
It's going to be hard. When everyone starts slowing down, maybe they'll be able to tag on just about in the end, but I kind of doubt it, really, if I'm honest with you, but
Yep,
never mind, safety car is in this lap.
So it is
What's
called
Logan going to be able to do?
That's true. Will Logan do it how the Norwegians do it? Sondre and Tijonis really slow the pace car down. As basically call themselves the pace car. Slow the car down a lot. Literally just zigzag into the line. Don't set off. Then set off when they cross the line. Or will Logan set off properly and get a good spot? Because he has started to pull away a little bit. Jamie is getting ready. So we'll watch on Jamie and hopefully he doesn't get wing damage or anything. He knows there's a lot at stake. And I think Sondre and Adam are just going to catch up a little bit. Is Logan going to bolt? Morris is ready.
Just going to have to wait.
And he's bolted.
I think he set off the final corner.
Yeah,
there
comes Jamie now. Jamie's staying with him. And look at the cars behind, two Ferraris. Matthew Order and Lewis Curtis already attacking Ollie Favell into turn 1. And Matthew Order moves into 5th. Ollie Favell drops to 6th. That's why they had to fight the car a little bit there just to keep it stable. And Lewis Curtis not that far behind.
Can I just say the helmets look really cool in these cars, but yeah, Logan gets a decent start. Here comes Ollie Flavell. He's got a really wiggly exit compared to Matthew, except he's still got a little bit of a better exit. That was quite a surprise to me. Is he going to be able to send it around the outside? But no. Oh, I didn't even realise the Ferrari came out of nowhere. Where was
Lewis Curtis on the inside of Matthew there, and I didn't even see that until I went on cockpit view of Ollie. Right. And Lewis Curtis now makes the move on Ollie there. Wow.
Where did he come from?
No,
oh, Ollie
again.
Oh,
though he's really tail happy today.
He is. Where did Lewis come from? He came out of nowhere.
That is true, because we get a nice shot on Bran then, and he's not going to be liking what he's seeing behind him is that McLaren. But I'll tell you who's not going to be like.
Oh, he's spun!
That's Lewis Curtis.
Lewis is fun.
Lewis is round after the hairpin, and he will be annoyed. Got a bit of damage there to his car. Hopefully he doesn't cause a safety car as he drops to 8th. Won't drop any further since the cars have to unlap themselves. But Sondre Sohaug is in 10th. Adam in 9th. Lewis Curtis 8th. Reisman 7th. Ollie 6th. Matthew Order in 5th. Petrol 4th. Ryan Glover in 3rd. And Jamie Morris 2nd. Logan in 1st. Somehow managed to keep the lead still by a couple of laps. As Logan says, new fast lap, and there's a car going completely off the track there. And that is Pedro seriously exceeding track limits, but now Jamie is really trying to close the door, and this is the problem when a Red Bull meets another Red Bull. It's an equal car, and they may be running similar setups.
Yeah, for sure. So it's really down to the driver at this point. They seem relatively equal, so I don't know if Jamie's going to be able to make a move or anything. As Sondre picks up the penalty, that's not going to matter his miles off, but yeah, I don't know if Jamie's going to be able to make this move on Logan. He's close, he's got the good pace, but I don't know if he's going to be able to make it.
Well, that could be true, of course. I don't think Logan's got any pens or anything like that. That could be in fact. I know Jamie hasn't got any either. But Jamie is staying with him, and there's a fight further behind as well. Matthew Order and Pedro now starting to heat up, so we'll keep an eye on that battle as well. It's actually a 3-wide battle actually. A McLaren, 2 Ferraris. It's been a while since we've seen these two jostle for position. So Pedro then is line up and move on Bran, but I think Matthew Order will be lining up and move on both of them in the next 2 laps.
Yeah, he seems to be going quite quickly now as Matthew, but Pedro, he's close to Bran, gone maybe a little bit quicker, so these three are going to have a nice fight for the final podium position. Bran, he's going to have to put up a big defensive job. So all of these cars, actually no, never mind, 2 of these cars are the same, one of them's different. Oh, Pedro has a huge loss to the rear, which has lost him a lot of time to Bran, and he's gone out wide as well, so here comes Matthew. This is going to be his chance, going up the inside into the first corner, which is going to turn to the outside for turn 2, back to the inside for turn 3. He's going to go for it, and he's going to make the move done before turn 2 or 3 even happens. So Pedro moves down into P5, and Matthew moves up into P4, and now he's going to have to fight his kind of Ferrari teammate for the final podium position. But Jamie looks like he's losing out to Logan.
Yeah, that is true. Now the gap's actually increased a little bit now, almost 7/10 there. So maybe Jamie's backing off a little bit just to save his tyres and then go for the attack. He is on the fresher set of tyres though, so he doesn't have to worry about the tyres falling off. So right now he has to worry about is Matthew Alder. Matthew Alder is in 4th and is closing. A guy who had wing damage, a guy who had a drive-through penalty, a guy who had to pit twice, I believe. Yeah, to make a 2-stop strategy, and he's already in 4th with the safety car and could possibly still be in a chance of winning this race. We're on lap 24-31 as Fred wants to join in on comms there, Jack. As Jamie Morris then is slowly catching up on Logan a little bit there, but then loses it again. Now 8/10 now the gap is, so Logan is starting to pick up the pace and showing that he belongs in the lead right now from an F2 driver. This is good to see. An F2 driver beating an F1 driver. It's been a while since we've seen it. We've only seen it once before. I believe it was a Christmas Classic event in Season 5 IRL. I think it was actually me and Spa. I think I got first on that one. As long as the new fastest lap, 38.651. Jamie's fastest lap is a 39.1. And the only person who's got even close to that is actually only Jamie. Matthew Wilson, the 39.2.
I mean, Logan's going quickly. That's quite clear now. But except Jamie's gone quickly too, but I don't think he's going to be able to make that move. But Matthew Alder, he's very close to Brown. I think he's going to go for it. Turn 7 around the outside on the fellow Ferrari. He's going to go for it. Brown holds up the inside. Defends hard, gives him not much room, but enough. Oh, there's a bit of wheel banging. That could have ended badly, except Matthew's still trying to stick up the inside, still fighting very hard. Brown stays in front right now. He had the kind of equal traction. Oh, Matthew had a big snap at the rear. Pedro got quite close to him there, but didn't manage to pull off a move or anything. Matthew, he's going to have to wait for another day. I'm not sure what the penalty situation is with some of these drivers, but maybe it could change this race. I mean, I'm going to check for Logan and everybody now. Logan, not a warning. Jamie has got a penalty. Brian, nothing. Yeah, there's not really any penalties that are going to change anything in this race, I don't think, other than maybe Pedro to Ollie. I think it'll be, that's the only one that will really be effective. So interesting.
Well, yeah, speaking about Pedro, he almost lost the rear end again, and he's getting caught by Ollie as well, so we could have a 4-way scrap then for P3 then. As long as there's a new fast lap, 38.5. Jamie's nowhere near that pace. His fast lap is a 13.89, so he needs to pick up the pace a little bit more quicker than Logan, and probably a 38.3 in case Logan improves. As Matthew gets a penalty. Oh no, the bottle again. Another penalty. This isn't like Matthew either. He's like Kevin, very consistent, not getting penalties. And now he's got a penalty added to his time as well, and this is going to help Brandon. Brandon in 3rd, Matthew is going to be in 4th, with Pedro really close behind, with Ollie waiting in the wings for something to happen.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew, he's going to want to get past Brandon very, very quickly. If he wants to get a 3-second gap to him as well, to be able to keep that podium position. So Matthew's going to want to clear him quite quickly. Of course, they're in an equal car, probably just differences in setup is the only real difference between these two. So Matthew's going to want to get a shift on and really do it, as he's only got about 5 laps-ish to do something to try and get that podium.
Yeah, that is true, of course, and I've got to say, these two are fighting it out, and here comes Matthew now around the outside, does the switch, goes on the inside, possibly late overtake, possibly to make. Brian wasn't really aware that much, but even still, Matthew wasn't brave enough to make the move, and I've got to say, Brandon's very good at defending. I have raced against him, and you have raced against him as well. He's very good at defending and where he needs to put the car.
He is. He's been able to hold Matthew up for quite some time now. Pedro is close to him too, but he's not really going to matter with all of his penalties. But Matthew, he seems to be getting really close, but then just losing out just a little bit. So, you know, Matthew, I don't know if he's going to be able to do it to get this podium.
And speaking about a person who's not going to be able to get this win at the moment, is Jamie Morris. Now gap 1.4 seconds between him and Logan. So Logan looks like he's got the win in the bag.
It looks like it, looks that way. Logan with no penalties either. He's been unbelievably consistent today. I mean, Yeah, that's all I can really say about
hang on.
Jamie. He's done really well, but
Yellow's
just
ahead.
wasn't quite quick enough at the end. I'm not sure what that's for. Honestly, not a clue.
Is that a lapped car or is that Jamie Morris? I think it's a lapped car. Yeah, it's a lapped car. I think it's Sondra.
Ah, never mind.
But right now, look, Matthew isn't leaving Bran alone, but Pedro is not leaving Matthew alone.
I mean, yeah, they're just in this little train. They've been there for quite some laps. Matthew can't get past Bran, and then Fred decides to commentate as well. I don't know what he's doing, but Pedro can't get past Matthew. He kind of gets close and drops away. Matthew can't get past Bran, so they're just in this little train, not really doing much together, just having a nice time.
Yeah, that is true, of course. They're having a nice time, basically just relaxing, just enjoying the racecraft. And we have found who it was who caused the yellow flags. It's Adam. Yet again, hitting the wall. He's really struggling with that Red Bull, not used to the car. And probably not used to that there's ballast actually in that car compared to the other car, the Mercedes, Renault, Ferrari and Racing Point, who don't use ballast anymore. But Matthew is just trying to follow every line Bran is trying to do there. As you can see there, a little twitch. What Matthew did as Bran made that attempted line. But is that Sondra? Someone is off. There's a VSC.
I have absolutely no idea.
I think that was Riceman. It was. And Sondra Sohaug has moved to 9th. Adam has dropped to 10th after that pit stop. So Sondra has unlapped himself against Adam and overtaken him. So good job on for the ball hog. And let's see then who's going to win on this battle for the final podium spots. I think the top two are settled. The gap's almost 10 seconds between Bran and JME. And Logan has actually, hang on a minute, how's JME caught up under the VSC? Gap's 5/10. It was 1.4
Maybe he just had a
seconds.
better restart. That's what I imagine. Maybe he just kind of got off a little bit quicker than what Logan did. He just got a better launch, so maybe he's going to be able to fight with Logan. Maybe.
That's a possibility. Maybe Logan backed off completely thinking it was a safety car. I don't know about that. That was very close. There is a glitch with the safety car though on the VSC which you can exploit. And maybe looked into to see if he did exploit it because he was quite far back. But then he gained a lot of time. Maybe just having a good restart and Logan not being really aware.
Yeah, that's possible, but Jamie, he's brought himself just a little bit more into the fight for the lead, but I think Logan still has that little bit on him as they're in the same car as well, so it's the same situation as Matthew and Bran, just kind of sitting behind each other, not really being able to do much. But I think Jamie, at this stage in the race, is making a few more mistakes than what Logan is. Logan's keeping it consistent, keeping it on the track, not really losing the rear too much. Only 3 laps to go, so it's now or never for Jamie, and it's now or never for Matthew as well.
Yeah, that is true, of course. Matthew's just staying behind, following Brandon wherever he goes. Little switch, little twitch there, and he's just following the line. And this is affecting Matthew. He knows he has a penalty. He knows he has to pass and gain the 3 seconds. As Fred agrees with me in the commentary box. As right now then, Matthew is just staying behind Brandon at the moment, with Pedro not that far behind, and Ollie has just stayed a lonely 6th place by 1.6 seconds each lap. He hasn't really gained that much.
Yeah, he's just been sitting behind him for ages, except he's really close up now.
Oh,
he's going to go up the inside into the hairpin. He's tried it, Matthew, he squeezed up the inside of Brandon. Lots of contact was made. There's still contact being made down the straight. Who's got the better straight line speed? Looks like Bran might actually have the better straight line speed. It's going to have to be Matthew trying to go around the outside. Bran holds the inside and stays in front of him. For now, lots of wheel bang going on. This is going to end well if they carry on like this. It still goes side by side. Matthew only just staying on the track. Bran still keeping it side by side, like stays in 3rd place. Oh no, he's made a mistake. Matthew, he's gone flying up his inside, of Bran has lost the 3rd place to Matthew. But let's not forget, Matthew has got a 3-second penalty, so he's got to make about 1.5 seconds a lap now away from Bran. So Pedro starts fighting Bran. I think that's the only way that's going to be possible. Bran made a little mistake. Matthew saw that mistake, took the most of it, and is going to get P3 on track for now.
Yeah, that is true, and that was an audacious move actually to make in the tunnel, because it's not really an overtaking spot, and he's been aggressive again. Matthew being very aggressive on track today. He knows he's got a little mini Express Championship to have on his name as well, Like, he knows he could win it, but he's just trying to do what he can do. And Brandon now drops to fourth, and Matthew in the third. But Matthew isn't safe, as you said. He needs to gain 1.5 seconds a lap, as there's only 2 laps left. I don't think that's possible, and I think Matthew is going to lose a couple of positions and drop further behind, and Brandon's going to take third.
Yeah, I imagine that's what's going to happen. Unless Brandon makes a huge mistake, then I don't see him losing this third place to Matthew. So I think our podium's going to be quite predictable from now. It will be, well, as it stands now, just with Bran in that third place. You got another yellow flag, which is always fun. Thanks, lads.
I think it's one of the lap cars, I think. As Brandon then is trying to stay with Matthew, but Matthew is doing what Brandon couldn't do. Pull away. Matthew is pulling away now.
Yeah.
A bit
I just
too
realised
late.
that Logan, look how much time he's just suddenly gained on
was
Jamie.
that yellow flags for JME? That
think
might
it
have been
might
it
have been.
was. Jamie's then made a big mistake. No damage on the car I can see. And yellow flags was for him then. No damage on the car, so I think he just lost the rear end a little bit and tried to save it. Brandon then, we've got to jump back on board with Brandon. Pedro then is in 5th. It's won the final lap of the race then. As I won't be doing podium interviews for today, because I will have to go straight away after this race, unfortunately. But maybe next week, if Jack's doing it with Felix, he will be in interviews for next week.
Not a fan of interviews, won't lie. Don't like doing them as a driver or as a commentator, but no, people enjoy them, so I have to. Part of where my Iceman name comes from.
The Iceman, the very, not really a lot of words type of person.
Unless I'm commentating.
Yep, that is true, of course. And Brandon then is dropped back a little bit from Matthew then, so we'll go on board with Logan. Logan, who has been untouched in today's race, I believe started 4th or 3rd, or 4th or 3rd. He was in that order, and he just came out of nowhere on the start line and instantly took the lead into turn 1. Matthew got Pedro, so it's just amazing to see an F2 driver demolish the whole field. I'd have expected this from Matthew Alder. Matthew hasn't even stepped up to the plate compared to this guy. And here comes Logan then through the final corner and takes the win in the Expedition Round 2. A different winner, third different winner in the Expedition Series. Logan then takes the win. Jamie Morris will take second. Had a penalty, so he dropped to 10 seconds there. Matthew Alder also has a penalty. Goes to 3rd. Brandon then takes 3rd. Matthew 4th. Ollie moves to 5th. Pedro in 6th then. And Riceman, who's had not really that much pace in the car, is a bit further back actually. Sandra Sohaug has come across the finish line. Adam will be next then up, who's got a gap of Sandra 17.7 seconds. Has still got a bit of wing damage to the car. And the Red Bull mechanics will not be happy with him, as I think he's doing donuts. Hopefully it doesn't affect any of the cars. We'll watch the donuts while we wait for drivers to come round.
I just realised now, yeah. The Red Bull mirrors are really weird.
Yeah, they're quite out there, aren't they? And the others are quite close. Well, here comes Adam then. Oh, don't hit it in the wall, because you will. And he's going to reverse, I think.
No, it's just Adam being Adam, really. I don't think he can get it in a straight line, I won't lie. I think he's turned off his traction and he can't get the car across the line.
Well, here comes the next
Red
Bull. That is Riceman then, taking 7th. And Lewis Curtis rounding up the top 10 then, and the only cars which are making in the race at 17 runs. We had 7 DNFs today. And here comes Lewis Curtis, takes the final spot in 8th place.
Bit disappointing for Lewis, I think. I think he had more potential than what he managed to do today, but hats off to Logan, absolutely fantastic. He dominated this race, but here we are, podium cities, your race winner. Fantastic, really.
I've got to agree there. And Sonja says, well, I had my fair share bottle, and that is right. And there is actually a Red Bull who's in the top 3 who's actually bottled there. He has no front wing. So, I don't know who that is actually. I think that's Jamie. I think he lost his front wing at the start. I
Not
think he's
quite.
actually in P2 as he's using the Brandon Lee avatar. And Freddie's giving his thoughts on stream.
I hate that dog.
Logan then takes the win with a 38-3. A lot quicker. Jamie tried to pick up the pace, did a 38-5. He had to pick a 38-3 to try and catch him, but unfortunately didn't happen. Got a penalty though. Brandon goes third, also didn't get a penalty. Matthew Order in fourth, Ollie fifth. Pedro drops to sixth with penalties. Reisman in seventh, Lewis Curtis in eighth. Sandra Sohag, the bottle hog, in ninth, making a few errors today, but still scraped some points. Adam then rounds up the grid in 10th. By being a lap down and making a few errors, but Paco Suarez, Joe Hollis, Mystic, Kevin Harrison all DNFing, and Kevin Harrison being disqualified in the race.
Yeah, it was an interesting race. It wasn't most exciting, really, but there's plenty of bottling as I was expecting from classic cars in Singapore. So Logan deserves to win. Jamie did really well to come up through the field, and yeah, who's the last one on the podium? Oh, yeah, it was Bran. Yeah, Bran. Not too bad for me either, so it was quite an adequate race, I'd say.
Well then, what's going to be your favourite driver then, your driver of the day? Yeah.
Jamie. It has to be Jamie, I think, but Logan deserves it too. It's between those two, it's Jamie or Logan.
Well, I would give it to Jamie, he's a good mate of mine, but I'm sorry Jamie, even though he did gain 15 positions, Logan deserved it. He literally kept the pace all the race through, only lost the lead by a pit stop, but then retook it back when the safety car came out, and unfortunately you couldn't keep up with him. So my driver there is going to go to Logan then, and he will get the driver there, I think, overall, if there's a vote system possibly on Twitter. But we're going to start the closing down procedure then. I have been your commentator, IRL Neon, or Jared Fosbury. I have been joined by a good friend of mine, Jack Yates, or Nexus Iceman.
Thank you very much.
Anytime. And if you wanted to watch any more IRL Exhibition series, join us next week. I believe same time, 6 o'clock. The week after that will be at 5 o'clock for the 100%. But next week may have different commentators, maybe Jack and Felix, it may be someone totally different. To wait and see. And yeah, if you want to see any more information or news, keep an eye on our Twitter for this week. And have a nice day, and see you guys next time. Goodbye.